Growing a brand new platform is hard. Any advice for us starting over from the very beginning? Yeah. So when you are starting a brand new platform, you've got a lot of wiggle room inside of the algorithm system. So you have to teach it who you are and why you're important. So the very first chunk of content that you create for the first couple of months needs to be extremely niche down and very, very specific. We're not straying. We're not doing trending content. We're not doing anything outside of the very specific bubble we need to be represented in. Every piece of content that you create should be oriented to help the algorithm understand who you benefit. So who do you need to be put in front of? Who does this content matter to? You're being educational, you're being instructive, and you're being informative. So you want to make sure that you are letting people know who you are and why you impact them, why you're important to these people. And so you need to be very mindful of the content you're putting up there. Again, zero trending content. Do not do it for the first couple of months. You need to be putting up as much content as possible, 1 per day minimum. I'm thinking more like 5 per day if possible. I know it's not always possible, but the more you can do, the better you will do. And that's why I teach you how to create content in under 5 minutes every single day, start to finish. And so and again, it doesn't all have to be like scripted content. When I say you can do multiple pieces of content per day, you can have one really good scripted piece of content, and then you can do something that has music to it, and it's just a text overlay with information. If you find something that is trending that can be very specifically with text, translated into your industry, then by all means go ahead, but that should be few and far between. So you want to put up as much content as possible. And you can also do things like stitching or duetting or remixing other people's content to get content to help people understand. So if you are, let's say, an author, you're going to stitch someone else's author content that's going to help the algorithm understand this is a book person. If you are somebody who teaches how to make candles, you are going to find somebody who teaches in this space, who is educating on this or something very similar, and you're going to duet it or stitch it. You're going to then help the algorithm to understand who you are and where you fit in. You also want to make sure that you're interacting with other people's content. So you need to be inside of your own niches. So let's say you've started a brand new platform and you are an author. I know you happen to be an author. So I want you going on bookish accounts, following other authors, interacting with other bookish people. I don't want you scrolling through your feed and like looking up recipes. That's going to skew your algorithm. And while the things that you watch don't necessarily impact where you're being placed, we do want to give the algorithm as much information as possible about what our vibe is. So for the first month or two, try to almost exclusively interact with other people in that niche that will be a potential client for you. So you want to make sure that you are heavily investing time in training your algorithm in what you are viewing and consuming, but also where you belong. You got to make sure you're using relevant hashtags, although hashtags are not the biggest thing here. We don't necessarily want to spend all of our time on hashtags. We want quality captions, and your captions need to be SEO friendly. It has to be able to be searched on YouTube and Google. We know that TikTok is now a search engine. It is specifically looking for people searches on Google, and they're going to send TikToks as results. So your caption needs to be SEO friendly. You need to have a title there. It's why we use something like TubeBuddy to help understand where our content is going to sit in YouTube, but you can take that same information and use it on TikTok as well. And we've got tutorials on how to use that on my YouTube channel as well. And so you're going to look for an SEO friendly title. I was going to say tagline, a title, and then you're going to have an SEO-friendly description on any piece of content that you put out there, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, etc. And you are then going to end with those hashtags, no more than 3 on any of the platforms. There are limits for YouTube. It is 3. And then on Instagram, they said under 5, but I would go with 3. And TikTok, I would go 3 or less as well. And so you just want to be putting as much content out there, as relevant content as you can. You are going to have to understand that sometimes that means you are going to just like kind of throw spaghetti at the wall and see what sticks. And so I want you to create as much content as possible, see what kind of vibe works for your audience. And the more that you are putting out there, the faster your audience is going to grow, the more relevant you're going to understand which pieces of content are going to work with your audience. So your goal here is to get as much content out there as possible, as specific as possible, and making sure it is for your specific audience. After a few months, now you can start to expand things. You can do more trending content. Again, light on the trending content, but you can do more of it. And you can be very clear about what types of content you're putting out based on how your audience is interacting and engaging. Your growth really comes down to how much effort you're willing to put into it. So the more content you put out there, the faster you're going to grow. It is proportional to how much content you get out there. And the more content you get out there, the faster your algorithm is going to understand you, and the more your clients are going to understand you as well. So we want to make sure that we are going to be very focused on getting as much content out there as possible, because that will help you to grow faster, stronger, and better in the end. And if you cannot do as much, that's okay. You just have to understand it will be a slower growth path for you, and that's totally fine to work with whatever your lifestyle happens to be.